morning, ladies and gentlemen. Schönen guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Sehr geehrte Kolleginnen und Kollegen, lieber
colleagues.
Robert, auch schön, dass
Robert,
wir wieder zusammen eine
well, it's nice
Veranstaltung
that
machen.
we are now
Sehr geehrte
having an event again.
Exzellenzen, meine
Excellencies,
Damen und Herren.
ladies and gentlemen.
Dürren im Sahel, verheerende
Droughts in the Sahel,
in
devastating forest fires
Hitze und
in
ansteigende Meeresspiegel
South America,
in Südasien,
rising sea levels in South Asia, and flood disasters in Germany. This is what characterized last year. And the Secretary General of the United Nations, who will give a speech in a few minutes, said, "Our planet is broken." This is how he described the climate crisis. This is the biggest challenge of the 21st century for all of us. Climate change mitigation and the energy transition are about the future of our planet, our families, and our children. But it's even more than that, and we're seeing this now. It is also about very specific security interests and geopolitical security in the 21st century. The brutal war on Ukraine, started by President Putin, has brought this home to us in all its severity. This brings a lot of suffering to the people, and it shows us that we have to become fully independent from Russian fossil fuel imports. We always knew this as Europeans, at the latest since 2014, and a strategy was launched to diversify our energy imports, but we didn't really take action then. And now we see the consequences of this in a very tragic way. But it is spilled milk. So this is why it's even more important that we now become fully independent from fossil fuel imports from Russia. And let me stress this once more, because there has been a big discussion for many people, also within the European Union, about a fossil fuel embargo. Many people call it this. Well, we have some issues with this term, because when we talk about an embargo, then we expect, like with other sanctions, that all countries join this action. But here among you, there are many countries which are also dependent on fossil fuel imports. So, and when we in Germany and in Europe seek to become independent from fossil fuels, then we cannot import our energy crisis to other countries. And this is also our global responsibility in this very difficult time. Nonetheless, let me be clear. Germany wants to fully become independent from Russian fossil fuels. Other people call it embargo. We can also call it a national gradual oil embargo, as the Minister of the Economy is currently preparing. And Robert Habeck said it over the past days. He made it very clear. Germany, in the last weeks, especially with regard to hard coal, we already halved our imports. And we also do this in other areas as well, and not only halve our imports, but fully get independent from Russian fossil fuel imports. But we also have to be honest here. And this is the major challenge here at an event like this, when we talk about the energy transition. For the transitional period, since we have to do everything at the same time now, we have to work on the energy transition. We have to now get rid of fossil fuel imports. Now we need other fossil fuel imports. So in the short term, we will need gas and oil from other countries. This is also true. But in parallel, we will, like all other countries, in the medium and in the long term, prepare to make the transition to renewables and to boost energy efficiency. For 15 years we've been talking about it, and now we want to vehemently implement this. as the Federal Republic of Germany, as the new federal government, even prior to this terrible war, we put this down in our coalition agreement. And even though it sounds a bit technical, I can only recommend the following. Let's look at this together once more, because we made it very clear in the agreement that gas, no matter where it comes from, can only be a bridge, and every bridge has an end to it. And this is why we have to formulate this end and also put it down, enshrine it in law. We did this as the international community with the climate agreement from Paris from 2015, and we agreed on the 1.5 degree goal, and with commitments from the industrial countries to phase out fossil fuels by the middle of the century. And in our coalition agreement, we made it very clear that we, the Germans, and as Europeans, we consider this our responsibility to also to already reach this goal by the middle of the 2040s. And this is why we put this down in our coalition agreement also prior to the war, that this requires not only incentives, but we need regulations for this to boost the expansion of renewables and solar and wind and so on, because it's not only a climate policy issue, but it is also the economic and industrial policy issue of our time. And investments in renewables are investments in security and our freedom. It is very clear we can only do this when we work together. Going it alone nationally will not work. And this is why our energy transition is also included in the European Green Deal. We want not only clean energies in Europe, but we also want to strengthen the strategic sovereignty of the European Union. Our goal was and continues to be the first continent in the world to become climate neutral. And with this, we want to have an energy sovereignty for the European Union and to ensure this together. And we can only achieve this if all 27 member states of the European Union work together, and also if we bring all the other European neighboring countries on board. And this is why a few days ago I was in Kosovo, and together with the Kosovo Minister of Energy, Artane Rizvanoli, who I would like to welcome here today, we were on a big mountain. It was really cold, there was snow, and in the middle of that we inaugurated the country's largest wind farm. Artane, I'm so happy that you're here today, because this investment is the largest foreign investment in the history of your country. And this foreign investment brings better air, reliable electricity, and more security to your people. Many households are supply based, and it covers 10% of the Kosovo electricity demand. And at the same time, in the situation now that we have the Russian war of aggression, it helps Kosovo to become independent from fossil fuel imports. And now if we look at all the wind farms, and it's not always easy in Germany, well, I was very concerned and asked how long was the planning period, and then I was really relieved when I heard, oh, it was only 7 years. And that's pretty much the time that we need in Germany, because I thought that Kosovo will also be better in that field, better than us. But it's not good news for the planning period, but it makes our common challenge clear to us. We not only have to install more wind farms, but we have to become faster as regards planning law, as regards the construction on site, and also when it comes to the interplay between all stakeholders and those who have creative ideas and those who have to implement and can implement those ideas. And this is why I would like to encourage all of you, especially with regard to planning, to become faster, and also with regard to cooperation. What is this all about? Well, Moldova shows us. The new president, who recently only took office, said it very clearly. We have to invest in energy efficiency, in renewables. We cannot completely be dependent on Russian imports, So we want to get connected to the European electricity network. And now we don't have, it's not 2 years, we don't have 2 years time. It has to be done now. And this is why on the 5th of April, we will have a support conference for Moldova with regard to refugees, but also with regard to the energy supply. And I know that many energy experts are here who install solar and wind power. And I would like to encourage all of you to join us and to look at how we can help Kosovo, not only with regard to its energy supply, but also with you to this very critical situation and with regard to its security. Because this war makes in a very dramatic way, clear in a very dramatic way that energy and security are closely intertwined. Climate policy is the most important geopolitical task of our time. The rise of renewables is not only a reality today and a necessity, it is also, and this is something that I as the foreign minister, what is very important to me, the expansion of renewable energy will accelerate and shift the international balance of power. And this is why I would like to address 3 points that are important to me. Firstly, the importance of technology. Secondly, the risk of new dependencies. And now the positive news at the end, the opportunities for new cooperation. Now, on my first point, let me say, if you want energy security, you need the best technology. And I think we can be very honest here also in economic policy terms. We are dealing with the technology race of the 21st century about green hydrogen, the best transport system, and the storage of electricity. And it's also about clean cars. We have great potential from Norway to the United Arab Emirates. But we don't have to fight against one another in this race, but together. We have to work together with researchers. We need ambitious research and international partnerships and a strong foreign policy and a strong industrial trade policy. And this is what we will do in the future. So not only with regard to our national interests, but also we will consider this as our joint international task. Now, what has already been done, what can only be a beginning, is the following example. Siemens Gamesa has installed 4 gigawatts of wind energy on the African continent. So this is equivalent to about 60% of total wind energy in Africa. So on the one hand, we can be proud of this. On the other hand, it only shows what we still need to do. Because 2015, the international community, the industrial countries, not only pledged that they would achieve the 1.5 degree goal, but they also promised to help Africa in electrifying its country. And now here we have to become better. But it's also clear that countries will be strengthened where we will expand renewables. But we have to make sure that our energy supply is clean, but that at the same time we help millions of people worldwide and to lift them out of energy poverty. And this brings me to my second point, the dependencies. Now, when we think about wind farms, electricity lines, we not only need minerals, we also need cooperation with countries which are not flawless democracies and where we have authoritarian tendencies. But this is why it is important that also, as with oil and gas and green hydrogen and renewables, we always make it clear we are not working against one another. It's not about contradicting values and interests. It all is intertwined and interconnected. Now, we are a country where the energy transition was born, and many years ago, and many people are here in this hall who invented the Renewables Act, but at the beginning we didn't look closely enough. We said, let's invest in renewable energy, and let's look at social issues and aspects later. But one thing is clear, renewables and social justice can only go hand in hand. If we install renewable energy plants, then we also need not only labor law, but also strong unions. And this is our credo that we have at international climate conferences. Well, I'm happy to see many young representatives from Fridays for Future. The slogan of a just transition, this is also the headline, the slogan of our European foreign policy. Clean energies cannot be achieved by dirty deals. So in spite of all dilemmas and problems, we always have to make sure that one thing belongs to another, and we cannot offset one thing with another. We need a values-led energy policy and foreign policy. And this brings me to my third point. There is no end to energy policy in history. The energy transition opens up new opportunities for international cooperation if we do things right. So we can overcome old contradictions between energy and in future clean energy and economic interests, between climate protection and more prosperity. At this moment, we are living in a time where we can only master this challenge together. And now in the times of the pandemic, and also the pandemic and energy issues don't stop at national borders. And as the Secretary General said, if our planet is broken, then we have to use all tools available to us together in order to heal the damage done as best as possible. And also together we have to build national, international prosperity. And for this reason, we have the Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue and the new climate and energy foreign policy of the federal government. We have to use all our tools for more climate change mitigation and for sustainable development for all countries all over the world. This is what we want to do for the next energy conference at the end of the year in Egypt. And at the Federal Foreign Office, as we have worked together with the Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, and now we have a new State Secretary and Special Envoy for International Climate Policy. So we appointed a new State Secretary, Jennifer Morgan. We're very happy about this, and she will help us to make these 226 embassies, make them climate embassies. It's important that this energy independence that we are working for, it's important that we don't do this fighting or against other countries, but together with other countries. We have many projects in Africa in the field of renewables, but we want to use hydrogen. This is where we are working on, and Minister Habeck will talk more about this. We have hydrogen offices in Nigeria and Angola, and more will follow in the next months and years. Because one thing is important to us: we want to work together, and we consider energy transition as security policy, an approach to sustainable development, and we want to work on this together. And this also means to invest money. This fast energy transition will come at a price, and this is why the industrial countries have to live up to their promises, which they made in 2015 to spend 100 billion US dollar for the poor countries, for the African countries. And this has to happen, and this applies to mitigation, adaptation, loss and damage. We can decide now what we do. We will not make the climate crisis undone, but we can do everything we can to repair and to limit the damage that has been done, and that we can start a sustainable development not only for a clean environment but also for the prosperity of our people. And together we can help other regions and people in the world to become less dependent and thus be more secure. This is what the German climate foreign policy stands for, and this conference. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you.